Go and work in my vineyard. In other words, if you want to follow me, keep my teachings, live by my teachings, and learn how to serve. I went out to the mailbox just yesterday, which is in front of my neighbor's house, and met her there, 2 neighbors up. And right behind the mailbox on her property is a beautiful fruitless plum tree. And last year, they tore up the grass, which is a good idea, and they put artificial turf. But they did not pay attention to the fruitless plum tree as far as irrigation goes, and the plum tree died. And I said to her, that's too bad. I'm going to miss those beautiful pink blossoms that are there for about 10 days in the springtime because I have a fruitless plum in front of my house. And she looked at me and she said, I've been here for 15 years. I've never seen a blossom. And I said to myself, isn't it a shame? So many people walk through life with eyes wide shut. It's like literature. It's when you read something, there's a lot more there than meets the eye. We have to be observant. We have to read in between the lines. We have to try to figure out what the author is trying to get across to us, sometimes in very, very subtle ways. We got to realize that literature is a reflection of life. Even if it is fiction, it's a reflection of life. The stuff of every day. All kind of stories, all kind of songs, plays, movies. They inform us, they reflect on the stuff we have to put up every day. For instance, the movie Oppenheimer, I'm sure some of you have seen it, tells us more about the psyche of a person, about arrogance, about fear, about lack of respect, about danger, about our fragile world. Besides informing us, that movie, how the atomic bomb came into effect. Oh, some of you have seen Barbie. Barbie isn't just about dolls. It is deep with a message of superficiality, reality, about making believe, about death and dying. And we're going to talk about that in depth come November, when the church advises us and suggests and motivates us to look at our own mortality. Take, for instance, the movie Pretty Woman, one of my favorite movies of yesteryear. It isn't just a delightful entertainment, not just with a catchy tune, Pretty Woman. It is a modern-day parable which Jesus would have used in explaining materialism, how to live life, how to live a mature life, and how not to live a selfish life. It is about growing up. And so, in the fall, many of us rush off enthusiastically to see the city, to see Shakespeare. Why is there such a draw? This man died 400 plus years ago, and yet we keep going to the theater to watch, to hear, to enjoy Shakespeare. Even though it's more than 400 years, the themes of Shakespeare are so relevant to the stuff that we put up with every day. Hate, love, infidelities, jealousies, revenge, atrocities, laughter, happiness, sadness, murder, suicide, war. Now today I want to share with you a lesson from a novel that I just finished reading by James McBride. The title is The Heaven and the Earth Grocery Store. Now, even though Jesus and McBride are separated by over 2,000 years, McBride's message is the very same message, the same lessons that Jesus teaches in his Gospels. His gospel values kindness, compassion, justice, sharing, generosity, service. McBride's story takes place in a dilapidated neighborhood called Chicken Hill in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, where immigrant Jews and African Americans live side by side, clinging to a dream of equality in their new home. The story takes place in 1925. Moshe Ludlow has opened a dance hall and theater to black musicians. Despite the opposition of the town's white power brokers, the theater is going well, prospering. Now, Moshe's wife, Chona, a beautiful woman, driven by her Jewish faith and convictions, with her chronic limp from childhood polio, runs the Heaven and Earth grocery store downstairs from their little apartment on Chicken Hill. The little grocery store costs more money than it takes in because Chona, the wife, allows many of Chicken Hill's black and European immigrants and residents to take out whatever they want with credit that she never asks them to pay. In Pottstown, the so-called Christian establishment, the residents of Chicken Hill are a necessary source of cheap laborers, housekeepers, maids. But despite their struggles, Chicken Hill is the epitome of American inclusiveness, care, and love. Chona's store is the meeting place for the diverse Chicken Hill community of shoemakers and maids, factory workers, and petty criminals. All are welcomed at the Heaven and Earth grocery store. And when the state wants to institutionalize a 12-year-old black child who's been branded as deaf and dumb, the Heaven and Earth patrons come together and they take on the powerful state to save the boy from being warehoused in a state institution. And as they begin to prosper, the Jewish families move out of Chicken Hill to Pottstown proper. Moshe wants to join the exodus, but his wife Chona will not hear of it. Moshe points out the window of their little apartment above the store and shouts, "Look, honey, look down the hill. There is America. What a great opportunity." But Chona, his wife, is adamant. She says, "America is here. Moshe is here." He says, "The area is poor, my love. We are no longer poor. We've made it. We've improved ourselves. It is Negro, which we are not. We are now doing well. We should move." But Jonah counters, yes, my love, we are doing well. Yes, precisely because we serve. You see? That is what we Jews do, Moshe. We serve. The Talmud, the teachings of our religion, make it very clear. We must serve Moshe. The novel celebrates our ability to move heaven and earth, to realize the kingdom of God's peace and justice in our own chicken hills. Throughout the Gospels, Jesus upholds the sacred dignity of women, the sacred dignity of men in the eyes of God, despite the inaccurate and often cruel labels and stereotypes society dumps on them. Compassion, forgiveness, mercy are only words until our actions give full expression to those values in our relationships with other people. Identifying ourselves, my brothers and sisters, as Christians and calling ourselves disciples of Jesus means nothing until our lives express the beliefs that we live. This past week, one of our politicians said on national TV, I am a profoundly religious person. And he emphasized again, profoundly. Well, Jesus would ask each and every one of us about our charity, our forgiveness. Do we fight justice? Do we foster equality? Do we share the blessings heaped upon us? Do we forgive? Do we fight for justice in our own little ways? Equality? Do we share? Do we respect other faiths, other nationalities? What have we done for our sisters and brothers? Are we honest in paying our taxes? Then, and only then, Jesus would decide who are profoundly religious. Like Shona says, we must serve to her husband. And Jesus says the same thing. Go into my vineyard